I mean, I'm a conspiracy theorist to a degree. Like, when I connect dots that maybe shouldn't be connected, I don't know.
We have always said it is about the children. It's not just about me. Never just made it about me. I'm just the loudest one.
It's no secret that the entertainment industry loves its secrets. But what happens when those secrets start to unravel, linking some of the most powerful names in Hollywood? Oprah Winfrey, Whoopi Goldberg, and Sean Diddy, Combs' three names that have dominated headlines in their own ways, are now being dragged into the same tangled web of controversy. While their public images have been carefully cultivated over decades, whispers of their connections are starting to paint a very different picture. And trust us, once you hear what's being said, you'll never look at these stars the same way again.
Now, to the latest on the arrest of Sean Diddy Combs. This one has so many people talking. The disgraced music mogul facing federal racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking charges. Both the prosecution and defense teams are set to discuss the next phase of action following the indictment, as investigators work to determine potential co-conspirators. But how exactly did we get here?
Let's start with Diddy, the flashy mogul whose name has become synonymous with luxury, power, and influence. From his groundbreaking music career to his ventures in fashion, television, and beyond, Diddy has built an empire that seemed untouchable until now. His recent legal troubles, which have dominated the news, are shaking the industry to its core. The allegations against him are not just career-ending, they're dragging others into the spotlight too. And while Diddy's public persona has always been larger than life, those closest to him now find themselves under scrutiny. Enter Oprah and Whoopi.
People online are split about this.
Oprah has long been celebrated as the queen of daytime television, a media mogul whose influence extends far beyond her talk show. But behind the scenes, rumors of her connections to controversial figures have been swirling for years. Her friendship with Harvey Weinstein raised eyebrows, especially as details emerged about the disgraced producer's behavior. And now, with Diddy's name splashed across headlines for all the wrong reasons, Oprah's past associations with him are being questioned, too. Could she have known more than she let on? Or worse, was she complicit in the very culture she claims to fight against? Then there's Whoopi Goldberg, a Hollywood icon in her own right. She's known for her sharp wit and unapologetic opinions on The View, but her name is also being brought into the conversation. Reports suggest that she and Oprah were once frequent guests at Diddy's infamous gatherings. Events that were anything but ordinary. These weren't your run-of-the-mill parties. They were exclusive, over-the-top affairs attended by some of the most powerful people in the world. And now, with a flood of allegations coming to light, people are starting to wonder just how deep those connections go.
I came here today just to tell the truth, so hopefully we can get down to the bottom of this. I'm 100%, the charges against me are 100% false, and hopefully due to time, we'll start to see that.
For years, Diddy's gatherings were the stuff of legend, lavish settings, celebrity-packed guest lists, and an air of secrecy that kept the public guessing. But according to insiders, these events were more than just glamorous parties. They were hubs of influence, where deals were made, power was brokered, and, allegedly, boundaries were crossed. Guests were reportedly required to sign confidentiality agreements upon arrival, a practice that only fueled speculation about what really went on behind closed doors. And among those rumored to have attended, Oprah and Whoopi.
It was completely outside of my frame of reference. I've been in show business since I was 14, and I've heard the stories of what happened.
Pictures of Oprah and Diddy together have circulated online for years, showing the two laughing and chatting at high-profile events. At the time, most people thought nothing of it. It's Hollywood, after all. But now, these images are being dissected under a new lens. Could these seemingly innocent moments be evidence of a deeper connection? And if so, what does that mean for Oprah's carefully curated image as a champion of truth and justice? It's worth noting that Oprah has faced accusations before. Her ties to Harvey Weinstein came under fire after reports surfaced that she had been one of his staunchest supporters, even after allegations against him began to emerge. Critics accused her of turning a blind eye to his behavior, prioritizing her career and connections over doing what was right. And while Oprah eventually distanced herself from Weinstein, the damage was already done. Now, with Diddy's name dominating the news cycle, those old controversies are bubbling back to the surface.
Tell her.
I would say, Oprah Winfrey, you know what you need to do, and stop hiding behind what you call was negative.
Whoopi, on the other hand, has managed to stay relatively under the radar when it comes to scandals. Until now, her links to Diddy have always been more subtle, but recent reports suggest that she was a regular at his exclusive gatherings. And while Whoopi has never shied away from speaking her mind, she's remained notably silent on this particular topic. Could it be that she's trying to distance herself from the fallout? Or is there more to the story than she's letting on? What makes this even more complicated is the broader context of Hollywood's interconnected power circles. Diddy's gatherings weren't just parties, they were networking events for the rich and powerful. Attendees included a list of celebrities, influential executives, and even political figures. The allure of these events was undeniable, but so was the secrecy surrounding them. And now, as details begin to emerge, it's becoming clear that these gatherings may have been far more sinister than anyone realized.
Thought Diddy would be throwing all his celebrity mates under the bus.
I mean, that could potentially be coming when it's time for court and when it's time for him to testify. But what we're seeing right now is how important public relations really are to Sean Combs. He's desperately trying to control the narrative behind bars, allowing his attorneys to do documentaries.
One insider described these events as the kind of place where deals are made, but not the kind you'd want your name attached to. According to this source, the guest lists were meticulously curated, ensuring that only the most influential people were invited. But with power comes responsibility, or at least it should. And as these allegations come to light, the question remains, who knew what, and when did they know it? For Oprah, the stakes couldn't be higher. Her brand is built on trust, on the idea that she's a beacon of hope and inspiration. But these new revelations threaten to tarnish that image. If she was aware of what was happening at Diddy's gatherings, or worse, if she played a role in enabling it, it could be a turning point in her career. And while she's denied any wrongdoing, the court of public opinion is far less forgiving. Whoopi, too, has a lot to lose. Her outspoken nature has earned her both fans and critics, but this latest development could alienate even her most loyal supporters. If she's found to have been complicit in any way, it would be a devastating blow to her reputation. And while she's yet to comment on the matter, her silence speaks volumes.
Have y'all spoke after this?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't have anything against Oprah.
You just called her.
I'm gonna tell you why.
You named your dog Oprah, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
As more details emerge, one thing is clear. This story is far from over. Diddy's legal troubles are just the tip of the iceberg, and the ripple effects are already being felt throughout Hollywood. Oprah and Whoopi may not be at the center of the allegations, but their connections to Diddy have put them in the spotlight, and in an industry where appearance is everything, that kind of focus can be fatal. What's particularly striking is how this story highlights the interconnectedness of Hollywood's elite. Diddy, Oprah, and Whoopi are just three names in a much larger web of influence, one that spans the entertainment industry and beyond. Their public personas may be wildly different, but their shared connections hint at a deeper level of complicity. And as more people come forward with their stories, that web is starting to unravel. This isn't the first time Hollywood's power players have faced scrutiny, and it likely won't be the last. But what sets this story apart is the sheer scale of the allegations and the high-profile names involved. For years, people have speculated about what goes on behind the scenes in the entertainment industry. Now, those whispers are turning into full-blown revelations, and the fallout is only just beginning.
In her civil lawsuit, Cassie said that she was the victim of abuse, assault, and at the hands of Diddy.
As the dust continues to settle, one has to wonder, how many more names will be dragged into the spotlight? Diddy's downfall has already implicated some of the biggest stars in Hollywood, and the ripple effects are bound to reach even further. For Oprah and Whoopi, the stakes couldn't be higher. Their legacies are on the line, and the public is watching their every move. Whether they'll emerge unscathed remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, the days of Hollywood's untouchable elite are numbered. And this is just the beginning. As we dive deeper into Diddy's legal troubles, the connections between Hollywood's most powerful figures will only become clearer. What other secrets are waiting to be uncovered? And how will the entertainment industry reckon with the fallout? Stay tuned, because this story is far from over.
A US judge has ruled that the rapper and producer Sean Diddy Combs will stand trial on federal sex trafficking and racketeering charges in May. He'll be held in prison until then. Sean Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges that he used his business empire to transport women and male workers across state lines to take part in recorded performances. If convicted, he could face a life sentence.
Now, here's where things get even messier. While Diddy's recent arrest has unearthed shocking accusations that threaten to dismantle his empire, it's also pulling back the curtain on a hidden world of power, influence, and deep connections that stretch across Hollywood. The deeper you dig into these allegations, the more names start to surface. It's not just about Diddy anymore. It's about the network of individuals who may have been complicit either through silence or outright participation. And trust us, the names being dragged into this conversation aren't small players. We're talking about some of the most well-known and influential people in entertainment. People like Oprah Winfrey and even Diddy's own associates who worked behind the scenes.
Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff.
Let's start with Diddy's legal troubles, which seem to be the tip of the iceberg. The charges against him are nothing short of explosive, with authorities alleging that he used his vast business empire to orchestrate a series of disturbing activities over the years. From his record label, Bad Boy Records, to his other ventures, it's being suggested that Diddy wasn't just running a business. He was running a carefully calculated operation designed to protect his reputation while maintaining control over those around him. And according to the indictment, this wasn't just a recent development. Prosecutors claim that this behavior dates back over a decade, painting a picture of a man who believed he was untouchable.
We are not done. This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
But here's where things get really interesting. While Diddy himself faces the brunt of these allegations, the fallout is touching everyone in his orbit. His longtime collaborators, associates, and even friends are being forced to confront their own complicity. Take Rodney Lil Rod Jones, for example, a former producer who worked closely with Diddy. Jones has made some shocking claims in his lawsuit, alleging that Diddy not only pressured him to participate in inappropriate activities, but also forced him to document everything on video. According to Jones, Diddy used hidden cameras in his homes and recording studios to capture compromising footage of his guests, footage that allegedly included some of Hollywood's most powerful figures. Jones claims that these recordings were Diddy's way of maintaining leverage over those in his circle. Think about it. If you had a secret video of a celebrity or executive doing something they wouldn't want the world to know about, you'd have a pretty powerful tool to keep them in line. And Jones alleges that's exactly what Diddy did. He says the recordings were used to silence potential whistleblowers and ensure that no one dared to speak out against him. The details are chilling, and if true, they suggest a level of manipulation that goes far beyond anything we've seen in recent Hollywood scandals.
And I understand that he has a shrink coming by his cell to see him several times a day. And now there's talk about putting him in, it's like a bubble. It's like a cell that has like a plexiglass wall in it where they have inmates watching you. That's actually their job, to keep an eye on the inmates that are on watch.
But what about the people who attended these gatherings? Surely they must have known something was wrong. After all, it's hard to believe that anyone could attend one of Diddy's infamous parties without noticing that things weren't exactly above board. And yet many of the guests reportedly turned a blind eye, either out of loyalty, fear, or self-preservation. This is where Oprah's name starts to come up again.
You have a couple of pets as well,
Yeah.
a dog and a cat with interesting names, to say the least.
Yeah. That's Oprah.
That's Oprah. Okay.
Oprah has been photographed with Diddy on multiple occasions, and while their relationship has mostly been framed as professional, questions are now being raised about just how much she knew about his private life. Some sources claim that Oprah was a guest at several of Diddy's exclusive events, where attendees were required to sign strict confidentiality agreements. These events, often described as over-the-top and extravagant, were reportedly shrouded in secrecy, with only the most trusted individuals allowed to attend. But with the recent allegations against Diddy, people are starting to wonder if these parties were more than just harmless gatherings of the rich and famous. It's worth noting that this isn't the first time Oprah's judgment has been called into question. Her close friendship with Harvey Weinstein has long been a source of controversy, especially after it was revealed that she continued to associate with him even after rumors about his behavior began to circulate. Critics have accused Oprah of turning a blind eye to Weinstein's actions. And now, with her name being linked to Diddy, those criticisms are resurfacing. Could it be that Oprah's connections to powerful men like Weinstein and Diddy were more than just coincidences? And if so, what does that say about her role in Hollywood's culture of silence?
Public realm, this is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in a jail cell right now, I think it really underscores the magnitude of what he's facing and the weight of the federal government.
Then there's the case of Brendan Paul, a young man who worked as one of Diddy's assistants. Paul was arrested earlier this year at a Miami airport, where authorities allegedly found suspicious substances in his luggage. While the charges against him were relatively minor, the incident has sparked speculation about his role in Diddy's operation. According to court documents, Paul was one of several employees tasked with carrying out Diddy's orders, no matter how questionable they might have been. This included arranging transportation, managing logistics, and, according to some sources, ensuring that no one outside of Diddy's inner circle learned what was really going on behind closed doors.
What his team is trying to do is get the public to assume that the government is leaking some of this negative information about him, like that Cassie video. But the reality is, he's got a lot of enemies, and I really don't.
Paul's arrest has also cast a spotlight on other members of Diddy's team, many of whom are now facing scrutiny for their involvement. Some insiders have suggested that Diddy's employees were more than just passive participants. They were active collaborators who helped him maintain control over his empire. And while it's unclear how much they knew about the full extent of his activities, their silence has raised questions about their accountability. What's even more concerning is the role of non-disclosure agreements in all of this. According to multiple reports, Diddy required anyone who attended his events or worked for him to sign strict confidentiality agreements. These agreements, which were reportedly enforced with the threat of legal action, ensured that no one could speak out without facing severe consequences. It's a tactic that's been used by powerful figures in Hollywood for years, but in Diddy's case, it appears to have been particularly effective.
You have bullies in this business, and the bullies are so used to being bullies, they don't understand when somebody bite back.
Right.
Not bark back, they bite back.
Right.
And this brings us back to Oprah and Whoopi. Both women have built their careers on the idea of speaking truth to power, yet their connections to Diddy suggest a level of complicity that's difficult to reconcile with their public personas. Oprah, in particular, has come under fire for her role in promoting individuals who later turned out to be deeply problematic. From Weinstein to spiritual healer John of God, Oprah has faced accusations of using her platform to legitimize figures who have since been accused of serious wrongdoing. And now, with Diddy's name added to that list, her credibility is once again being called into question. Then there's Whoopi, whose outspoken nature has made her a beloved figure in Hollywood and beyond, but her silence on the Diddy scandal is deafening. While she's never been one to shy away from controversy, her decision not to address her connections to Diddy has left many wondering if she has something to hide. Could it be that Whoopi, like so many others in Hollywood, was aware of Diddy behavior but chose to stay silent? And if so, what does that say about the industry as a whole?
You're not done, and that Combs did not do this alone. Do you foresee that there could be other charges related to this case?
I'm not taking anything off the table.
What's clear is that the Diddy scandal is exposing more than just one man's alleged wrongdoing. It's exposing the entire system that allowed him to operate unchecked for so long. Hollywood has long been criticized for its culture of silence, where powerful figures are protected at all costs and those who speak out are often ostracized. But as more people come forward with their stories, that culture is starting to crumble. The question now is whether this scandal will lead to real change, or if it will simply be swept under the rug like so many others before it. For Oprah and Whoopi, the stakes couldn't be higher. Their legacies are on the line, and their reputations may never recover if they're found to have been complicit in any way. But for the countless individuals who have been affected by Hollywood's culture of silence, this moment represents a chance to finally hold those in power accountable.
I think it's to be expected, just the shock of this and the questions about what is ahead of us. I mean, how long is he going to be in custody? Is this an R. Kelly situation? Is he going to not get out for a number of years? Is he going to end up serving a long-term prison sentence from this? Or does he have a chance of beating these charges at a trial that could come?
As the investigation into Diddy's activities continues, more names are sure to surface, and the web of connections will only grow more tangled. But one thing is certain, the days of Hollywood's untouchable elite are numbered. Whether it's Oprah, Whoopi, or anyone else who finds themselves caught in the crossfire, the truth will eventually come out. And when it does, the entertainment industry may never be the same. So what do you think? Are Oprah and Whoopi guilty of turning a blind eye, or are they simply being dragged into a scandal that has nothing to do with them? And more importantly, will Hollywood finally learn its lesson, or will this just be another chapter in a never-ending cycle of power, corruption, and silence? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on this unfolding story. This one is far from over.